Happy Tuesday, everyone. YouTube says I am live. Welcome to, get some more light here, Tuesday Night Raw Q&A. I can't see my thing. That's not doing it. There we go. Hey, now I'm not in the dark. Okay, so Tuesday Night Raw Q&A with me, Dr. Andi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you brought your questions about raw feeding a species-appropriate diet for your dogs, your pets. I have actually a few notes of some stuff I wanted to start off with today. Go ahead if you're here live, say hello. Would love to hear from you. Hang on, we got to change the chat. Oh, hi, Jessica. Wait, thank you. I did. I got a haircut and color yesterday. It was so nice. Somebody blow dried my hair. I don't know how you say that. And so, yes, thank you, dear. Week is just getting started. Tuesday is my Monday, so it was good. Hi, Kelly. Welcome. Welcome to Tuesday Night Raw. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dr. Andi. I'm a doctor of chiropractic and a certified animal chiropractor. I've been in clinical practice with dogs, adjusting dogs for 20 years now, which is an amazing thing to say. Happy Tuesday, Miss Keisha. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I had a few things I had on my list, but I am open to, of course, it's Q&A. Ask your questions. All are welcome. Maybe I know something, maybe I don't. I'll tell you if I don't. And this is generally all stuff I've learned from my clients over 20 years and stuff I've tried with my animals and learned with trial and error or not with my own animals. I've learned most everything from my clients. And none of it is veterinary advice. It's just information for you to go out and do even more research and educate yourself even further as to what will work best for you and your critters. Okay, we're going to start out with kitties today. Actually, I'm going to go to what's the best cat food, hands down, Raw Dog Food and Company. So weird. Let's see. I think that's, yes, the best raw dog food out there is absolutely Raw Dog Food and Company. There's nothing resprayed. There's nothing added. You got your meat, your organs, your bones, everything's listed. And then there's so much variety. Now, I'm going to add a little caveat on cats because they can be so darn picky that I use Raw Dog Food. I actually use another one called Blue Ridge. I buy Primal on occasion just so I can rotate proteins with them. They won't eat half the proteins Raw Dog Food have. I don't know why. You want to ask them. I got to say it's very interesting because they are siblings, and what one eats, the other one eats. They never deviate. Like, they like everything together. It's so interesting. That's what's weird. I wanted to talk about kitties. There we go. I have a cat question. Awesome. So I start people with Raw Dog Food. They have Fat Cat, which is cat food patties, and then they have the tubes, and you can just rotate around. So that's my caveat with cats is if they won't eat that raw dog food, but they will eat something else that's a frozen raw, I go with it with them because I'd much rather have them eating a raw species appropriate diet, which for kitties is a complete carnivore diet. Like just meat. They don't need anything else. Organs, bones, all of that they don't need all the fillers that go into the canned food. They don't need any carbohydrates, and they really don't need the kibble at all. Do you want to go first, Jessica, or do you want me to go first? Because I got a question from another client about her kitty. and I'm going to read it off. I pulled it up in my email. She said she adopted a 7-year-old cat who has been on dry food, and she switched her over to raw at the end of November. She came with some swollen red gums and lines around teeth. The vet said it is abnormal. She also likes to have her tongue hanging out of her mouth when her mouth is closed. Wondered if I saw anything like this, and does it get better on raw food, and what else could she possibly do? Okay. Of course. Well, thank you. Of course, we're talking about kitties here, and they actually do this weird thing with their teeth. It's called tooth resorption. It's been called resorptive lesions in the past, and they literally attack their own teeth and break down the layer under the enamel. And I did very little research. This is all off of Google. I actually had a cat back in the day, and I can't even remember which one. There's been a few, and I was pretty young. Who, what I'm assuming is what she was talking about there, they'll get this really bright pink line along the bottom of their teeth or around a tooth. And that generally indicates that. Otherwise, you have to get an x-ray. And I guess you could have resorption of the top of the tooth, which is called the crown, or resorption of the root, which is under the gum line. So dentals, right? If you're going to do a dental with anesthesia, get the x-rays. That seems to have really become standard practice, at least here in the Denver metro area. You can find an occasional vet that will do an anesthesia cleaning without doing x-rays. But if you're knocking your animal out, don't bother unless you're getting x-rays. Okay. That's just, don't bother without the x-rays, because there's so much under the gum line that's what you need the x-rays for. And that's why you're doing anesthesia. That's in my book. The anesthesia free, we could probably have a whole nother hour conversation on, is that worth it? How does that work? I don't even know if they see cats. Don't think I've ever heard of a cat going and doing that. Okay. So if that's what's going on with this kitty, bravo for getting your kitty at age 7 off of kibble to raw. And Kyle asked here, how did she transition? I don't know, because that is not an easy feat with kitties. They tend to get so addicted to the kibble and the carbohydrates in the kibble that getting them off of their, what I call Skittles, is really difficult. And I always encourage people to at least get them off of that and onto canned. And then if you can get some raw in there or all raw in there, I mean, kudos. I had one other client that literally just laid down the raw, and this cat went, oh, thank you. And just boom, that was transition. I've had many fail at trying. I've had many that just get a half and half going. Kitties can be very, very difficult when it comes to that. So bravo on that. Now I have some notes. That's what I'm looking at here. I like how I just went to all the very traditional websites for this. The VCA, I didn't go looking. I didn't go down another rabbit hole with it just yet. And so I just wanted some definitions. And I love how they say the cause of this tooth resorption is the cat's own cells. Their odontoclasts are destroying the tooth from underneath the enamel. Okay, that's the mechanism in my head and how I think about things. What is causing the odontoclasts to start destroying the teeth, right? The layer under the enamel. That would be more the cause. This is more like the mechanism. So, and this is very similar to osteoporosis. Honestly, we have osteoblasts. Build. That's what you stimulate to build bone. And osteoclasts is what you do. You stimulate to destroy bone. So when you have osteoporosis, your osteoclasts, similar to your odontoblasts, are breaking down bone. So what are the causes of osteoporosis? Loss of muscle mass, not muscle building. We can go into calcium, your diet, So if we just look at that and intuit with that, what is causing these odontoclasts to destroy the bone? And like I said, they didn't even go into, are there odontoblasts? Can you stimulate odontoblasts to build back up bone? I don't know. But just to kind of give you a little reference and kind of where my head is and what I'm looking at, that's what I was looking at. So have I seen it before? Yes. Have I actually seen anything that changed it besides removing teeth, dentals? They offer like root canals as options. Like you got to go in and get teeth out. Because if the crown, the top part of the tooth breaks off, you could then have an exposed nerve because the whole tooth doesn't fall out. It'll just crack off. And I guess these lesions on the teeth, if you have the odontoclast working on the top of the teeth, I guess gets super, super painful. And one website said studies show that once middle-aged, 50% of cats will have one or more of these resorptive lesions near or under the gum line. And all of that goes up with age. So can we hypothesize that maybe a diet of Skittles has contributed to resorptive tooth disease? I mean, they don't even call it a disease, these resorptive lesions. Maybe. Dogs can do it, people do it, but cats do it a lot. So again, kitties can be such little aliens that who knows? So for Kim, you might want to consider a dental, get in there, get some of the teeth out, get it cleaned up. And then, yeah, maybe the diet change will be enough to maybe stop it in its tracks. I don't know if it is reversible. Maybe there's some more rabbit holes we could go down with that. My kitties, raw-fed kitties, went in last summer, so 8 for a dental. One kitty lost one tooth. The other kitty did not. They just got a cleaning. No mention of any resorptive lesions. I'm assuming the vets know what that looks like on the outside, and then they did take x-rays and there was nothing in the x-rays. So is that diet related? Is that because of their limited minimal vaccinations that we've done over the years? Is it a combo of both of those? Is it just, with cats, generations and generations and generations of dry food, over vaccinations and that. But then again, we get these like feral, these wild cats in there, right? And they kind of actually spruce up the gene pool different than dogs. So a little bit about that. There looks like there's more research that could be done. But I mostly want to say kudos on the diet change. Keep that up and probably get in there, and it's probably going to not be a very inexpensive dental, and get the mouth cleaned up for kitty. Oh, she also said the tongue hangs out. And my one question to Kim would be if there's already missing teeth. There's already missing teeth, and yeah, tongues hang out of mouths in our animals. Little Miss Molly Brown lost all of these teeth, and so she lays there with her tongue sticking out. And old dogs, you ever see them, the tongue's hanging out, they have no teeth. It doesn't always happen, because I've met many toothless dogs that their tongues are in their mouth, but that would have been my one question on that. Otherwise, getting in and doing a dental, they might find more maybe jaw stuff going on, some more jaw damage, maybe some, who knows, right? Maybe there was a previous injury, even that's what's going on there. So we need some information, but a nice place to start. Yeah, some other dry food like feline naturals can also be an in-between for switching to raw. Also, Ashley says briefly cooking the raw can help kitty transition. Yeah. Yes, Kyle, it's always better late than never, especially supporting kitties' kidneys. Another tip that I've heard over the years is you stick the raw in a bowl, just a little bit, not like a whole meal or whatever, and you stick the containers in like odd places around the house because cats are like, ooh, what's this? Why is this over here? Maybe I shouldn't be eating it. And then they eat it because, it's kind of how cats roll. You can also sit there and roll the raw into like kibble-sized bits and make them like in the shape of kibble. And sometimes that helps. It really, really depends on the cat. It can be, but it rarely is ever like, plop down a bowl of raw in front of a dog and they're like, yes, wonderful, thank you. But yeah, Ashley mentioned Jackson Galaxy. He has some fabulous cat behavior stuff out there, information, books, videos. Ashley and I went and saw him in person. He's actually a local. He actually started out at the Boulder Animal Shelter. And that was great. Just keep in mind he is a bit more conventional and is most likely sponsored by the big food out there in the world. So just, take tidbits and take what works for you and just keep that in mind. That's all. I haven't seen that video series, so maybe I'll check that out and see what he does have to say about kitties. Wondering if something like the ancestral supplements would be helpful for that condition, like living bone or right. Like, I don't know the answer to that, but just as we like think about it and intuit, you would really think like ancestral supplements would really jive with kitties, right? So for those of you that aren't familiar with ancestral supplements, they are basically they freeze-dried organs. Like you can get liver capsules, you can get adrenal capsules, you can get thymus capsules. So you get all the parts of the animal that maybe you don't want to eat or can't get your hands on, and you get the nutrients of that. And they have stuff in that line called living bone. So yeah, is it a mineral issue? I don't know. But yeah, why not? Because they're all meat. They're in beef gelatin capsules. Like there's no vegetables or fillers or anything like that. So kitties might really jive with stuff like that. Again, cats are aliens, and I cannot say off the top of my head how much of this and how much of that kitties all need. That may require some digging and searching and educating yourself specifically on cats, raw feeding, supplementing other minerals and stuff. Just that's my caveat with cats. I would be doing a lot of research if this was something I was looking at with my cats. And maybe Kim and I will get together and do a consult, and we'll do that. So yes, cats are aliens. Yes, cats are aliens that eat Skittles in this world. Yes, Ash. He does promote a raw diet. Awesome. There. So there you go. And just keep it in mind. I think he's got fabulous information. You got to know what everybody's agenda is. Everybody has an agenda. Everybody. You go to the surgeon, their agenda is surgery. You go to the chiropractor, their agenda is adjustments. You go to the acupuncturist, their agenda is acupuncture. And never assume that their agenda is actually to support yours. That's it. Use this for information, and then go out and educate yourself and find out what's going to work for you and your critters. This is all individualized. Yep. Check your sources. All have agendas. Check your sources. They talk about, there's this one there's this supplement line, this joint supplement that all the vets have in their offices. I pretty much know what it is when clients say they're on it. And I'm like, and the vets are always like, it's backed by their own research. It's backed by their own research. That's called bias, right? You want third-party research. And then you better check your third party and who they are and what is their agenda. So just keep all that in mind. All of this can be useful. All of this can, send you on a different path that gets you where you want to go with yourself and with your animals. But just be aware of what everybody's agenda is. It's my soapbox for this evening. Miss Jessica, what's your question? As she's typing. How many books has Jackson Galaxy written, Ashley? I think she has them all. Yeah, I figure she's typing. 2 or 3. I'm like, okay, I don't want to start a whole nother thing. We need to play music, right? Yes, here. Okay. 3 books. Okay. All right, Ashley, you have to type in the chat what kind of litter box we're talking about here. All right. Jessica says, my friend's cat was in the hospital for days for possible asthma. I'm only 6 years old. There was weight loss over time and then hospitalized. Can asthma just show up in a cat? Yeah. Yes, kitties do upper respiratory and asthma quite dynamically. It can just show up. I bet it's probably been brewing for a while. There's probably stuff that once, the diagnosis is, oh yeah, there was, this sneezing or this trouble breathing or this or that would kind of pop up here and there. Yes. And why do kitties do upper respiratory and asthma so dynamically? Probably diet. They're generally, I don't even know what the percentage is that cats that eat kibble. Like, it is through the roof, right? Like, I have people that come in regularly that I don't know that my dog's eating raw, but I do not have people that come in regularly that I'm raw feeding my cat. Like, they may go there because they're coming in to see me, but it just doesn't happen. So yes, diet. So what does carbohydrates do in the body? Any body, cats' bodies, dogs' bodies, people's bodies, they cause inflammation, right? And then when you are putting them into a cat body that is not designed to handle any, it causes inflammation. And so is that why we see so much asthma, so much upper respiratory? Possibly. And this is just real basic stuff. I'm no cat expert by any means, right? Cats also do dynamically herpes viruses. They do, what is that? HIP and HF. I missed, but they do a lot of viruses in their systems. It kind of goes back to kitties are aliens and how they're built. But I would imagine that if we could get off the Skittles, off the carbohydrates, reduce the inflammation, that maybe the asthma would be more easily controlled. Heavy purring over time too, and then went to hyperventilating sounds. Yeah. Maybe that, and that's kind of the hard thing. If that kitty was adopted, or always purred really heavy, you may never have thought about it. Now, if they didn't and then they changed, they may have noticed it, but it's purring. Oh, it's sweet. She's purring really loud. She loves us, right? Like that's what we think about and then it turns into hyperventilating sounds. So yeah, it's probably been brewing. Kitties also hide their diseases dynamically. Like it's amazing what they can hide and how bad it has to get for them to say anything. And then we discount so much with them too, because, let's say it took you, I don't know, 8 months to realize the cat stopped jumping on the counter, right? You just haven't shooed the cat off the counter. You were just kind of happy the cat wasn't on the counter, but you didn't really notice that then they really weren't on the bed, or they really weren't, up in their cat tree, or, they're just so much more subtle with everything than dogs are, right? When the dog stops getting in the car, you notice it. When the dog is not necessarily jumping on the couch to get next to you, you're going to notice it. Kitties are like, oh, they just, they're just not in the mood right now. We discount a lot of things that do shift and change with kitties, that could indicate that something's going on. But then again, you go into the vet with your cat and go, they're purring really heavy. They started purring heavy 2 months ago. Maybe the vet would know. Maybe that was an indicator to them. Maybe not. Right. So sometimes it's hard to go in with your kitty too if you don't have any real concrete symptoms. Yeah, litter dust. That's great. Yes, that's wonderful, Keisha. Yeah. So change the litter box substrate. What they're using. There's different boxes out there. There's this fancy one that Ashley's going to tell us all about. That I use one that's it's a tidy cat box, but it has little stones and absolutely no dust. I just got a smaller corn-based one that's no dust either. I don't like that one at all. I haven't touched that one. So FIB, yeah, and then there's FIP. Yeah, there's all the initials for all the kitty things, but that's a great. And then it's not even the dust. Toxins. Never get the litter with the scents. No fresh scent. No fresh step. No litters with little blue crystals in them. Those scents for kitties is I'm going to go out on a limb and probably go deadly. So unscented, clumping, reduce the dust, get some of the new substrates that are out there. You might have to leave a few boxes and have them try it, have them get used to it. You can't just change them out on a kitty. There's Dr. Elsie's, there's Boxy Cat. But yeah, no scent. And I don't know how well you know your friend, but if there's any plugins, I think Febreze plugins, doesn't have to be Febreze. Any of those plugins, any of those, maybe even candles, if they're doing a lot of candles, all of that can be very aggravating. That actually makes your indoor air more toxic than the outside air. If you have them in your house, please just throw them out. They're horrible. They're horrifically toxic. And they're really bad for our animals because if they're in the downward plug, like I can't talk. It's the beginning of my week. The plugs that are like at our knees, right? Like the ones that we plug our computer in and all that, the lower ones, that's where dogs walk by. That's where the cats walk by, right? That's up their nose. That's in their respiratory system intensely. And so they need to go. They are horrible. What we do around here is diffusers with essential oils. And they're not the essential oils off the shelves in the grocery stores. You do have to be careful with those in kitties. It's citrus. I think it's mostly citrus that kitties cannot handle in essential oils. Now, I have done Young Living for years, And I've done citrus, I've done thieves, and the cats are fine with those, but you need some high quality oils if you're going to diffuse. But we diffuse. That's all we have around here. No more candles, no more plugins, no more air fresheners of any kind. It's all gone. So there's a few things. If your friend's open to making some changes, they may still need to manage the asthma, but maybe they can use less medication, and maybe we can get Kitty feeling better. Oh, fabric softener. It's one of the most toxic things, period. End of discussion. We don't have fabric softener either. My husband hates it. Hates it. I threw out his last box of fabric softener. I found it hidden in the back. And I threw it out. He's like, it's unscented. I'm like, yeah, and it is so toxic. So toxic. So if you're washing your linens, you're washing your pet beds and using fabric softener, the dryer sheets, the fabric softener, awful, awful, awful. Yeah. So there's actually a lot of things you could actually talk with her about and see if we can more natural alternative to fabric softener and dryer sheets. The dryer sheets, you can get the wool balls. They help. A fabric softener. I've heard rumors that vinegar does it. I can't say that I'm on board with that, so I don't use it. Yeah. Yeah, but okay, yes, there's the free and clear options. Absolutely. But if you go to like the companies that make the plant-based laundry detergents, and believe me, like the natural ones, I mean, I have tried many and they come out of the dryer and I'm like, okay, did we wash any of this? This smells like the hamper still, right? Like, or they're in my closet for 2 days and I put it on and I'm like, ugh, this is not. So I finally found one, but if you generally look at those, they don't, not a lot of them, at least from what I noticed, and maybe I'm blanking on some stuff, but they don't offer a fabric softener. I don't think it can be done very well naturally. You can go with free and clear. And then you get into the argument, you need plant-based. A lot of your free and clears are still petroleum-based products and blah, 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 blah. I've found Puracy has a great laundry detergent. I absolutely love it. It does a great job. Stuff stays in the closet for a while and it doesn't start getting stinky. It does an amazing job. And they have a stain remover that is better than any of those conventional stuff off the shelves at the grocery store. Like all plant-based and amazing. And I'm not necessarily, we can go into plant-based or not and blah, blah, blah. But they are awesome. And I don't know if they have a fabric softener. I've just gotten used to living without it. Kyle met someone who has raw-fed greyhounds and Italian greyhounds. One of her dogs has an inflamed toe on each foot that will eventually rupture and become raw. Any tips on that? Nothing's popping off the top of my head of like, I've heard of this before. Greyhounds do corns more than any other dog breed, but this doesn't sound like that. The colloidal silver sole from Adored Beast, I would go with that. And then I like looking up, and you can look up all kinds of stuff. Again, doTERRA, Young Living, Revive, like really good essential oils, not stuff off of any shelf. I love actually making beef tallow, coconut oil, and then finding a blend of essential oils. And I double oven, heat it up on the stove and melt it and put the oils in, and I would put that on. I love actually beef tallow with just a little bit of the coconut oil to make it a little more spreadable. There's a word, spreadable. But you could look up all kinds of stuff with oils and what oils do, and I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. I even make my own sunscreen like that. And I actually use the same stuff on rigs if we're going to be out. So absolutely no chemical SPF, but carrot seed oil has an SPF of between 30 and 50. And it's actually really good for the skin because of the natural occurring retinols. So I put sunscreen on and then I put it on him. And actually we do less and less and less of that with the sun period. I actually went to the British Virgin Islands and all I used was my homemade sunscreen. I reapplied after we went into the water. I wore no sunglasses and I got beautifully tanned. Everybody else got burned. Magic. Free and clear. Humidifier, that's good. This dog will go on steroid and antibiotic, and that's all help, but it keeps going back. Well, yeah. I mean, you're what if those bacteria or whatever this is there to actually help clear out something? And every time we do antibiotics, it goes away, but then you get a rebound effect. And that's where the colloidal silver soul from Adored Beast might be like a bridge, because it's going to attract just the pathogenic bacteria and let the good bacteria build up in that biome. But mom may have to allow the animal to be a little uncomfortable for a little bit to see if maybe that bacteria needs to do its thing too. I mean, I kind of need to see the picture, kind of need to see what they've been doing, kind of, all of that jazz. But those are just a few things off the top of my head that I would play with. If you can get her here next week and ask Neely some homeopathic questions about this, she might have a homeopathic that might really help with this too, instead of the antibiotics, or you can ask on her behalf or whatever. Right, Kyle? But I would ask Neely about this next week and see if there's a homeopathic. 1 or 2 toes, right where the nail meets the toe. Yeah. Will restore help? I'm sorry, Jessica. What's restore? I'm blanking at the moment. If you can help me out with that. Yeah, ask Neely next week. That's a great question. Well, yeah, they could be picking up something on their walkies, but if it's only the one dog, yeah, it's just the one dog. So you would think they would all walk in the same places, but possible, right? You could also up the omegas, the omega-3s, and see if that helps. Yeah, add in phytosynergy, potency. If they're already raw feeding, they're probably doing a lot of that already. Greyhound, Adored Beast, yeah. She has Restore Balm. Is that a homeopathic balm? I'm sorry, Jessica. I don't know what the Restore is. All right. Great question, Kelly. She's bringing out big words. I don't know if I can do big words. It's from Farm Dog Naturals. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with the product, Jessica. Yeah. Let's hang on 1 second, Kelly. We'll get back to you in a second. What is it? Farm Dog Naturals. There it is. Restore. on Amazon. Oh, okay. Itch and wound. Okay. Restore is a wound care and itch relief salve. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Cherry kernel, rose hips, hemp, almond, apricot, pumpkin. Yeah, she's even got some of the carrot seed in there, frankincense, geranium, organic vitamin E. Yeah, that looks amazing. She wouldn't even have to then make her own balm. That would be great. I'm still thinking the colloidal silver soul might, and she might want to do it even when the toes are good. And then maybe they'll stay good. But no, that product looks great. I just wasn't familiar with it. Sorry. Feeding raw fish containing thiamines. I think I butchered it. Thiamines. Okay. Well, feeding raw fish shouldn't be all the time, right? I think Dee Dee says once a week. And we want to stick to the smaller fish. Okay. So thiamines is an enzyme that metabolizes or breaks down thiamine into two molecular parts. It is an anti-nutrient when consumed. It's found in a few plants and the raw flesh and viscera of certain fish and shellfish. It just says some fish species. We try to stick to smaller fish, basically for the mercury. So it can induce thiamine deficiency. Interesting. Let's see. Carp. Animal flesh containing, okay, so the flesh, goldfish, minnows, carp, and the carp family, catfish. Here we go. Here's the fish list. Anchovies, barb, bass, bonefish. The salmon. Most of the fish in these commercial products do not. So salmon and cod do not contain it. Let's see. What is the other one? Sardines. So sardines. Okay. So sardines do contain this. So keep it to a minimum. And as a raw feeder, you're probably doing all right on your thiamine in other factors. Thiamine, is that a B vitamin? Yeah, B1. Yeah. So, your muscle meat's going to be full of your Bs. So, here, there, once a week. Honestly, Kelly, I haven't really thought about it. Salmon does not have it. So, you could do that and switch off with the sardines. Because the sardines with, it's like, okay, so we also know that they're super nutrient dense. How much is this one anti-nutrient affecting them? It's not something that I do every day with my animals. And maybe that, is that good rule of thumb is just once a week with it. Is you can get fresh frozen sardines and mackerel through Raw Dog Food Company. Mine won't eat it. So we do salmon. And they actually like canned sardines. So is this enzyme not present if it's in after the canning process? So lots of things to consider. I haven't gone down a rabbit hole with that, but great question. Thank you, Kelly. The humidifier suggestion. Yeah, it does say that cooking does destroy it. So I would imagine the canning process would destroy it if it's a big concern. Like I said, I'm not that familiar, but thank you. It's something else to look at, right? Right, folks? There's always something. All right. What else we got? Anything else? Any other questions? Kitties to carrot seeds today. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Beagles have more Cairo. Gotta love it. Yeah, the newsletter, huh? I was gonna kind of like see if that like went under the radar, and I figured Dee Dee and I would talk about it on the podcast. But yeah, I was struggling with my newsletter. Like I said, sometimes it just, and then sometimes I'm like, okay, where do you want to go? And so I get on the interwebs and check out social media and see what's trending. And honest to God, most of that is super, super sad, and how many animals suffer from SOS, which they call stupid owner syndrome, and they end up in shelters and need help and injured and all that. I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do? And then I'm like, well, you know what? I haven't really been on Dr. Connor Brady's website or Facebook, and so I'm like, I'll go over there. And I wanted to order his book anyway because I have time to read 500 pages, but you know. And then I saw that post about the AAFCO or AFCO allowing trash. Literally, there is now a company that will give people containers, and they will put their trash in these containers, and they will come and pick up these containers, and then they will go and add them to the livestock feed. And there doesn't seem to be regulation on what can go in there. So plastics, medications, like what can go in the trash? Like, what do you throw in your trash? And they're gonna pick that up. And then I found the whole article on the last AFCO meeting, and the verbiage is amazing to me. I mean, I have to read these things 3 times, just to be like, kind of get a sense of some of the stuff that they're permitting or is okay. And it's all right to have diseased animals in your pet's food, and it's amazing. It's truly amazing. And I do hope some people took some time to read the article, maybe even some more time, and headed over to the website. The pet, I never remember the name of it, the Pet Truth one, Susan Thixon. And I know a little bit of her story. Her dog died of, I believe, kidney failure in that huge dog recall. When was that? 15, 20 years ago. And ever since then, she's been on, her life's work. But I mean, our food supply is having a hard enough time that we're going to now add trash back into livestock feed. And that's just going to go into the food chain. That could be the meat we buy. If you're not discerning and getting grass-fed and finished, it's probably the meat that sits at the really big box stores, right? And we wonder why our pets are ill and we are ill. Yes. The pig feed and cows being fed candy with the wrappers. Okay, I actually have a story on that. So I don't know, 4 years ago, I'm in my animal chiropractic course, my CE course, and it's veterinarians and chiropractors. And there was this gentleman, old-time vet, old-time dairy farm, livestock vet from, I think he was up in Michigan, somewhere close to Chicago. So classes in Chicago. And he was telling a story in class. This is all hearsay. And he was going into these farms and checking on cows and checking on pigs. And he had all these clients. And this was back in the day Mars offered to all of the ranchers, farmers, that they could have all this candy for free, all their miswrapped, misshapen, just the candies that didn't end up in the store because they didn't look pretty. You can come pick them up. Take as much as you want. It's free. Feed the pigs. And then the pigs started developing diabetes. And he was one of the vets that are like, you've got to stop doing this. And he literally, that is how intimately, and this was gotta be 30, 40 years ago. And how long Mars has been, Smuckers, Nestle have been intimately tied with livestock and intimately tied with AFCO, and their regulations are there more to promote profit than they are for the health of the animals in the US. And it's not a government entity. It is filled of individuals that have positions. It's volunteer, and maybe they work for the federal, state, or local governments, but it's not a government entity. But it's fascinating. So yeah, I actually knew a guy that was there when Mars was offering free candy for the pigs. Puka's Promise is a similar book. Author tours dog food factory and does a deep dive into why dogs don't live as long as they used to or should to. Yeah, I actually saw that book. I'm like, okay, Ashley can. Ashley knows what I'm talking about. I could keep ordering all these books. I'm like, I need to read them. But I did see that. It's on my list. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I would like to borrow it. But yeah, I have a whole big book coming on melatonin. I'm geeking out on many things, not necessarily for our dogs, but all kinds of things. So, yeah, so that's what AFCO is up. I guess they have another meeting. I guess there was, and if you get over, is that the truth about pet food? Is that it? Let me find that so we have it. Yeah, truthaboutpetfood.com. I actually found a membership or an association so I supported that. But yeah, kind of like with Jessica's friends here, and we've got to start just spreading the information one by one by one by one. Her book budget is about as big as the litter box budget. She does have a big book budget, let me tell you. Prolific reader. I just wish our taste lined up a little bit more. I could borrow a lot more books. So yeah, a little bit about that and how Mars has been sneaking their candy into our food chain. Anything else, my friends? We're just about there. But it flies by. Awesome. Well, if there's any typing going on, I'll do this, and then if there's anything else, we'll do that. But yes, I'm here every Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Dr. Andi's World YouTube channel. Invite your friends, invite the skeptics, invite anybody that has, any interest at all in raw, in anything. I mean, like I said, I'll try. A lot of it is what I've learned over the years. A lot of it's just intuition. A lot of it is kind of comparing it to maybe what's going on in a human body. Yes, dogs are different. Yes, cats are different. But sometimes we can get a sense of stuff, and sometimes that's very helpful for people. You can get on my newsletter list. There we go. It's every Tuesday. Sometimes it's chiropractic. Sometimes it's just, hey, this is what's up in the world. There might be, more on muscle testing coming up, and how maybe we could do that with our animals. And that's at animalmagiccare.com. If you're in the Denver metro area, I do have a clinical practice. I'm still adjusting dogs every day. Would love to meet you and yours and see if I can help out. But if you don't have an animal chiropractic on your healthcare team for your animals, your dogs, your cats, find one in your area. We do exist. You might have to dig a little bit. It'll be well worth the time and energy and money. It makes a big, big difference in how they function and how they feel. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much. Thank you for always being here. Love the questions. And thank you, Kelly, for joining us. And there's Jamele. Hi. My water is amazing. Anna Lemma. It's amazing. You should get one. The dogs, that's all they get is structured water. And it's so easy. That's key. It has to be easy. Otherwise, we're not going to do it. Right? Thank you, Jessica. Keep spreading the word. Yay. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all. We'll call it a night. And yes, Neely Piazza will be here next week for Tuesday night Q&A. She loves kitties. She's a homeopathic wizard. Bring your friends, bring your questions. She's a riot. She's amazing. Let's support her. And then I think hopefully Keisha will link all this stuff on a lemma. What else did we talk about? See, this is why we have Keisha here. I miss you guys too. I'll be back in February, I promise. I'm going to go to Tempe. I'm going to get a little warmer than what it's been here. All right, my dear friends. Until next time, how much fun can you have with your animals? Bye.